We always knew there were threats. We always knew that there were people out there that hated us with deep, deep passion of hate. But it didn't scare us. Never. He was never afraid of that. Neither was I. Obviously, we protect our children. You know, we don't show their faces on the internet, so that's very intentional. But I think we lived our life in such a way where if that was our last day, it was our last day. Like, we always lived as if it was the last day. That's why Charlie's speeches were so good, because he didn't know if that was going to be his last speech. And he was so intentional about every word. Every word had a meaning, and every speech had a connection point.
Most widows can barely get out of bed for months, but Erica Kirk became a CEO. We always knew there were threats.
Right, make a wish. You can't tell me what it is, though. Make sure it's a good one.
Her husband was shot and killed on September 10th, yet by November she was running his entire organization, posting glamorous photos and birthday captions that didn't look like grief, they looked like opportunity. Viral clips started circulating. The hug that broke the internet, the interview where she laughed talking about her husband, and the moment a political leader reacted in a way everyone noticed. People expected her to grieve quietly. But instead she appeared everywhere: events, parties, interviews, all while looking perfectly composed. So naturally, the internet started asking, is this real mourning? Or is something else going on? She was a former beauty queen with a picture-perfect family, and everything changed after her husband's death. Within weeks, she forgave the killer, took over his organization, and stepped into the spotlight. Her behavior didn't match what anyone expected from a grieving widow, and that's why millions are now questioning it.
Did you see people didn't understand the hug that you and JD had? They went to the weirdest places, Erica.
Oh my gosh. You guys, please. So for those of you who know me, I hug is
yes,
like,
you're an intense hugger.
Whoever
it's awesome.
is like hating on a hug needs a hug themselves. I will give you a free hug anytime you want a hug. My love language is touch, if you will. But seriously, that hug. So I will give you a play-by-play. Walking, they just played the emotional video. I'm walking over, he's walking over, I'm starting to cry. He says, he's so proud of you. And I say, God bless you. And I touch the back of his head. Anyone who I've hugged that I have touched the back of your head when I hug you, I always say, God bless you. That's just me. If you want to take that out of context, go right ahead. Again, that to me shows that you need a hug more than anyone else. So if anyone...
They were acting like you touched the back of his ass.
I feel like I wouldn't get as much hate if I did that versus... But no, seriously, so now when I go and hug people, I'll bring them back in and be like, I obviously didn't give you the right hug. Like, come, let me touch the back of your head.
Go?
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Can't touch the head. What can I touch?
I know. I'll just...
Not me. I'm always like, if you touch the back of my head, I'm like, oh, she's feeling the extension.
Erica posted a birthday photo on Instagram with the caption, "My first birthday without Charlie." But instead of a somber post, she looked happy and radiant, which immediately sparked backlash. Commenters were shocked, claiming the vibe didn't match someone grieving a recent loss. Things intensified when a viral clip surfaced of Erica hugging JD Vance at a Turning Point event. The hug looked far more intimate than a typical professional greeting, hands on the head, hands on the waist, fueling even more speculation. Moments earlier, she had said on stage that she saw similarities between him and her late husband, which made viewers even more uncomfortable. The internet exploded with breakdowns of the moment, body language analyses, reaction videos, commentary threads, all picking apart the hug and her behavior. Even supporters admitted it felt off. Then Erica responded in an interview, directly addressing the criticism, which only added more fuel to the fire.
So you did get married.
Yes.
You have 2 kids.
2 precious babies.
And you told me this in private, but how many kids did you guys want to have?
We wanted to have 4. And I was praying to God that I was pregnant when he got murdered.
Oh, wow. I thought of that once. Just like whether it was meant to be or whether we'd get news like that.
I was like, oh goodness, that would be the ultimate blessing out of this catastrophe. So now when I see young couples, I tell them, please don't put it off. Especially if you're a young woman, don't put it off. You can always have a career. You can always, go back to work. can never just go back to having children. And they grow so fast and so quickly, but I was praying, both of us were. We were really excited to just expand our family.
Thank God you have the two.
I know.
Thank God. You know,
boy and girl. I know.
One day they'll find out. Right now they're just, little loves, and one day they'll find out that they're Charlie Kirk's children, and they'll know what that.
When Megyn Kelly brought up the viral hug, Erika reacted by wiping her eyes and saying, "Oh my gosh, you guys, please." But instead of looking upset, she came across like she was laughing it off. She explained that her love language is touch, that she always hugs people that way, and even joked that critics probably need a hug themselves. Then came the line that stunned viewers. She joked she'd get less backlash if she had touched the back of his ass. For someone publicly grieving a husband, the humor felt strange to many people watching. She continued laughing and making light of the situation, which only made her seem more irritated at the criticism than emotional about the loss, and that's the issue. Her reactions didn't match what people expect from someone mourning. The more she joked, the less authentic it felt to the audience, but the interview didn't end there. In that same conversation, Erika revealed something far more emotional, and that's where things took an unexpected turn.
Did y'all just see that? Y'all, let me show you this again. Watch his hand.
In the clip, Erika says she had been praying to be pregnant when her husband was killed, and that they had always wanted a bigger family. It's an emotional moment, and on its own, it's heartbreaking. But viewers noticed something else: the timing. The way she reaches for the tissue, the way she dabs her eyes, the perfectly delivered pause, online body language breakdowns all pointed to the same thing. The moment felt practiced, not spontaneous. Maybe she's just composed on camera, but when you line it up with the other clips, a pattern starts to form. The tears show up right on cue. The emotion hits at the exact moment it's supposed to. It feels polished, controlled, almost like she's performing. Then she shifts into giving advice to young couples about having kids and building families, which struck people as strange considering the tragedy she had just gone through. Instead of sounding devastated, she sounded like a motivational speaker, and that's when viewers realized it's not just her interactions with one person. This energy shows up with everyone.
Nothing is a coincidence. Hold on to that thought. Did you know that Charlie Kirk's father, Robert W. Kirk, was actually the architect for Trump Towers? Also, did you know that Erica Lane Kirk won Miss Arizona USA in 2012? Don't forget, Donald Trump ran Miss America from 1996 until 2015. Seeing the correlation here? Now, not saying age difference is a big thing, but did you know Erica was 5 years Charlie Sr.? But this is where coincidences aren't coincidences. Watch this.
But just know that nothing is by mistake. Nothing. I will never forget the time I was in Israel with my husband. That was the second time, but the first time with my mother on a pilgrimage. And I was standing in the ticket line. And I remember looking behind me, and in the snake of the ticket line was a guy who looked very familiar. I had no idea who he was. And I told my mom, this guy looks so familiar. And as a typical mother, she said, go and say hi. No. We were late for our flight, and I'm not going to come off like a crazy person that's just weird. That ended up being Charlie. Nothing is by coincidence. Now, did we know that? No, not until we were like 3 months into our relationship and looking at timestamps, seeing that both of us were in Israel at the same time.
People, this was so arranged. And there's so much more to Erica Kirk. Kind of like how she was all into basketball, didn't want to be all girly, never liked to dress up, even cut all her hair off, and ended up being Miss USA. How does that happen? How do you go from sports to Miss USA? And then they meet at a turning point event in 2018, where she's interviewing for a job for Turning Point. Solidified. I got a feeling there's more to the story here.
Did you catch that? One woman even joked that she had to warn her husband not to get too close to Erika. It was said playfully, but was it really just a joke? Because a lot of people have noticed how quickly Erika seems to get comfortable around men, and it's not only random viewers picking up on it. Even Donald Trump appeared uneasy in one of the clips. His expression wasn't the look of someone relaxed, it was the look of someone thinking, what is going on right now? When someone who's spent decades in the spotlight and hugged thousands of people looks uncomfortable, it definitely raises eyebrows. The internet immediately ran with it. Memes popped up everywhere, even Trump is giving you side eye. And honestly, that summed up the whole reaction. When the people around you seem visibly thrown off, it makes others wonder what's really happening. But things took an even wilder turn when people online started digging into Erica and Charlie's past, and what they claimed to find was interesting, to say the least.
We always knew there were threats. We always knew that there were people out there that hated us with deep, deep passion of hate. But it didn't scare us. He was never afraid of that. Neither was I. Obviously, we protect our children. You know, we don't show their faces on the internet, so that's very intentional. But I think we lived our life in such a way where if that was our last day, it was our last day. Like, we always lived as if it was the last day. That's why Charlie's speeches were so good, because he didn't know if that was going to be his last speech. And he was so intentional about every word. Every word had a meaning, and every speech had a connection point for the students and for whoever he was speaking to. And that's why he never missed the opportunity to weave the gospel into what he was saying.
Let's break down what this commenter claimed, because the connections they point out are at least in the online narrative raising eyebrows. According to them, the families supposedly had ties long before Erica ever came into the picture. They also point out that Erica once competed in a major pageant during the same era a well-known public figure was involved with that organization. Coincidence? Maybe. But it's the kind of detail people love to analyze. They also note that Erica is older than Charlie, which isn't unusual on its own, but online commentators argue that in conservative circles it flips the typical expectation. And then there's the story Erica tells about meeting him in Israel, what she calls a moment that wasn't a coincidence. That line alone sent the internet spinning with theories about whether their meeting was fate, luck, or something more intentional. Add to that her journey from athlete to pageant winner, to the wife of a major political figure, and people online have turned it into a narrative about strategy and connections rather than romance. No one is saying that's what actually happened, but it is what people are speculating. And now? According to your storyline, Erica isn't slowing down at all. Her latest Instagram centers on the Megyn Kelly interview. She says people have always hated her and Charlie, yet they were never afraid. That message frames her as a victim carrying on a legacy. But viewers noticed something else. While claiming to be targeted, she's everywhere running the organization, showing up in designer gowns, living a lavish life, traveling, speaking, and building a brand. To many watchers, it reads less like grief and more like ambition, turning tragedy into momentum. Whether that's fair or true, perception matters. So here's the question the internet keeps asking. Is she moving forward with strength and grace, or is something else at play? See you in the next one.